All right, Shalom. First and foremost, when I start off, I give it all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Marakah Kodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who well, peace and blessings and citation to the hopeful elect, the Bayath, Dawadah, the house of David. All right, so we're just going to jump right into it. It's going to go over into the word army, right? So the word army means armed, expedition, right? It says armed, troop, armed, expedition. Okay, armed, equipped in arms. It says armed men, soldiers, right? It says to arm, literally act of arming. It says related to tools or arms. All right. It says the meaning of bodied men trained and equipped for war, right? So the angels are trained and equipped for war. There is the thousands and thousands of angels that bow to the Heavenly Father and His Son Yahushua are equipped and aimed for war, right? And armed for war, or armed, right? With the chariots, which is the laser beams that's coming out of the chariots, right? Going to be shooting down laser beam, concentrated fire, right? It says arms, weapons. It says of a warrior. It says arms, weapons, warfare, right? Tools, implements, right? Of war. It says the notion seems to be which is fitted together. It says compare, arm, right? It says the meaning branch of military service, right? It says the branch of any organization, the meaning of heretic insignia, or insignia, right? It says, all right, we got the point on that, right? So let's go here. It says in Exodus 15:3, it says Yahweh is a man of war, and Yahweh is his name. Now let's jump down here a little bit, right? Verse number 6, it says, thy right hand, O Yahweh, is become gracious in power, right? Right? Glorious in power, right? It says, thy right hand, O Yahweh, have dashed in pieces the enemy. And in the greatness of thy excellency, thou hast overthrown them that rose up against thee. Thou sittest forth thy wrath, which consumed them as stubble. You see? All right? So ultimately, the wrath of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is going to be shown again here on the earth. Right? But this time by ICBM missiles, right? In the coming of Yahushua, right? So this right here, let me get this here. Let me get Revelation 1:7, right? Revelation 1 and verse number 7. It says, behold, he cometh with clouds. Those clouds are talking about the chariots that's coming with Yahushua, right? These are going to be the face. This is going to be the curse, the cover of the face of the earth. It says, behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all the kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, Amen. Right? So, right? So it says the curse that covered the face of the earth, right? In Zechariah 5. Right? Zechariah 5, we see the flying roll. It says, I'm going to read from the top, right? So you understand, it says, then I turned and lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he said unto me, what seest thou? And I said, I see a flying roll. This is a chariot. It says, the length thereof is 20 cubits, and breadth thereof 10 cubits. Then said he unto me, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For every one that stealeth shall be cut off as on the side according to it, and every one that sweareth shall be cut off as the side according to it. Right? So when these people see these chariots, they're going to be afraid, right? Especially Esau Edom, because they're going to try to battle the chariots up in the heavens, right? That we see above us, right? And they're going to lose miserably. They're going to be obliterated. They're going to be destroyed because there's nothing they can do with the chariots. It says, right? It says, and I will bring it forth, saith the Lord of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief. Esau being the house of the thief, right? Removing people's landmarks, stealing, raping, and robbing, and pillaging. Right? It says, and in the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name, and that's Esau Edom, who was swearing for coming in the name, talking about he's coming in this Christianity and all this thing, and all this madness, lies, man. It says, and it shall remain in the midst of the house, and it shall consume it with the timber thereof and the stones thereof. You see? Okay? All right? And this is the chariots. You see? It's going to cover the face of the earth. You see? The curse, right? It's coming with Yahushua. You see? You know? Ultimately, these missiles are going to blow and waste away Babylon the Great as well, and Israel. Right? Israel is going to be a desert, right? But it's going to be rebuilt up. See? And Babylon the Great is just going to be a complete desert. All right? Israel is going to be rebuilt back up, though. You see? So let's just get into this here. Let's go to Revelation, the 5th chapter. Right? The 5th chapter. Let's read it real quick. The 5th chapter and the 11th verse. Right? The 5th chapter and the 11th verse. It says, and I beheld, and I beheld, and I heard the voice of many angels round about the throne, and the beasts and the elders, and the number of them were 10,000 times 10,000 and thousands of thousands. You see? Right? Saying with a loud voice, worthy is the Lamb that was slain, that's Yahushua, to receive power and riches and wisdom and strength and honor and glory and blessing. Right? So let's go over to some cross references. Right? Let's go down here, right? So it says Revelation 7 and 11. It says, and all the angels stood round about the throne and about the elders in the four beasts, and fell before the throne on their faces and worshipped Yahushua, right? Okay? Yahushua, right? And as you can see in 1 Kings, the 22nd chapter, 19th verse, it says, and he said, hear thou therefore the word of the Lord, Yahweh. I saw Yahweh sitting on his throne, and all the host of heaven, right? These are the chariots, the angels, standing by him on his right hand and on his left. Those are the angels, the innumerable company of angels, right? Okay? It says 2 Kings 6 and 16 through 18. It says, and he answered, fear not. This is Elisha, right? It says, fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them. And Elisha prayed and said, Yahweh, I pray thee, open his eyes, that he may see. And Yahweh opened his eyes, and opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw and beheld a mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha. And when they came down to him, Elisha prayed unto Yahweh and said, smite these people, I pray thee, with blindness. And he smote them with the blindness according to the word of Elisha. So the power and the power of the chariots, man, are something else, brothers. We ain't gonna have to, man. The chariots are gonna do work. They're gonna get busy. Ain't nothing that this devil can do with the chariots, man. All right? It's gonna be a legion of angels. That's gonna be an innumerable company of angels in the sky, man. They're not gonna be able to beat the Heavenly Father. They're not gonna be able to beat Yahushua, right? So in Psalms 103 and 20, it says, bless Yahweh. It says, bless Yahweh, ye his angels that excel in strength, that do his commandments, hearkening unto the voice of his word. You see, Psalm 148 and 2, it says, praise ye him, all his angels, and praise ye him, all his hosts. Right? It says Revelation 4, verse number 4 through 10. It says, and round about the throne were 24 seats, and upon the seats I saw 24 elders sitting, clothed in white raiment. Right? These are the angels. Right? It says, and they had their heads crowns of gold. And it says, and before the throne there was a sea of glass. Right? That's a chariot. It says, like unto a crystal, and in the midst of the throne and round about the throne were the 4 beasts full of eyes before and behind. It says, and when these beasts gave glory and honor and thanks to him, they sat on the throne, who liveth forever and ever, and the 24 elders, right? Yahweh, the Heavenly Father, liveth forever and ever. He's everlasting, right? He is to be. He who is who exists. Okay? It says, and the 24 elders fell down before him and sat on the throne and worshiped him that liveth forever and ever, and cast their crowns before the throne, saying, right? You see? So let's jump down to here, Revelation 19:6. It says, and I heard as if it were the voice of a great multitude, and the voice of many waters, and as the voice of multiple thunderings, saying, Alleluia, Alleluia, Alleluia. Right? It says, for the Lord power of omnipotency, it says, reigneth. You see? All right? That's Yahweh, the Heavenly Father. Right? The angels bow down to Yahweh and Yahushai. Right? Because Yahushua said, everything given to me in heaven is given to me on earth as well. Right? On earth is given to me as heaven. Right? You see? It says, Deuteronomy 33:2, it says, and he said, the Lord came from Shinar, from Shinar, it says, and rose up from Seir unto them, right? It says, and he shined from the Mount Paran. It says, and he came with 10,000 of saints. From his right hand went a fiery law for them. For who? The Israelites. That's the fiery law for them, the Israelites. All right? Okay? Mount Sinai, right? So it says from Sinai. All right, so Psalm 68:17, it says, in the chariots of Yahweh are 10,000s and even thousands of angels. The Lord is among them, as in Sinai. It says, in the holy place, Daniel 7:10, right? And this is Yahweh, right? It says, a fiery stream issued and came forth from before him, and thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. You see? All right. It says Hebrews 12:22. It says, be ye, it says, but ye are come unto Mount Sinai, right, and unto the city of the living power, Yahweh, the heavenly Jerusalem, and into the innumerable company of angels. So with that, I want to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Marakakwadash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and Ruel. Peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful elect, the Bayath, Dawadah, the House of David. Shalom.